Hello, everybody. I'm Tommy Sands, and I'm sitting here with Diamond Dave Somerville of the Diamonds, the great lead singer of the Diamonds for so many years, with so many hits like Little Darlin' and The Stroll and so many others. And we are here at the beautiful Elvis and Priscilla honeymoon house in Palm Springs. What a great place to do something. Isn't it?
Yeah, no kidding.
Anything.
Well, just out of respect for Elvis, I've got my Elvis watch on here that I got
I
at
hope
Graceland.
you can see that.
I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little guitar secondhand. It's not a secondhand guitar, but there's a little guitar secondhand making the swoof here, and I like this watch.
Perfect timing. In the Elvis and Priscilla honeymoon house. Diamond Dave, it's good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, Tom.
Great
Thanks,
to be
man.
down here in
Congratulations
the
on
Elvis and Priscilla house, honeymoon house.
It's wonderful. I mean, it's quite amazing. I didn't know it existed.
Yeah. It's been here since 1967.
Yeah.
And that's when Elvis brought Priscilla back from Las Vegas and their marriage and brought her in here to have their honeymoon.
Monumental.
We go back a long way, don't we?
Yes, we do. We do. I think we met in Hawaii, right?
I think we met in Hawaii in 1958.
Yes, we did a show for Tom Moffat.
For Tom Moffat, right?
Yeah.
With Connie Francis and you
Francis, yes.
and some other people. And then we went out to the Hilton Hawaiian Village and we enjoyed the sun out there.
We did.
And I think from there you were going down to Australia.
Yes.
To do a show down there.
We did. We worked down there for 10 days with the Musketeers.
Is that right?
As a matter of fact, yeah, we did a half a dozen cities and worked to probably 10 venues. Great fun.
Great fun.
Yeah.
Was Annette with the Musketeers on that show?
No, she wasn't. But,
She wasn't.
But Doreen was.
Doreen was.
Yes.
She was a pretty one. The next year, I went down and did that same tour in Australia for Lee Gordon.
Yes, right,
Lee
right,
Gordon
right.
was the promoter.
Right.
And I did about 10 or 15 cities, then went over to Tasmania, and then to Hobart, and then from there to New Zealand, and played Auckland and Wellington and Christchurch.
You got the Pacific surrounded. and then you lived in Hawaii for how many years?
I lived in Hawaii roughly for 20 years, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember being your guest there for a week or so when your daughter was about, I don't know,
3 years
Was she
old.
3 years
Yeah.
old? Yeah.
And you were so patient with her. She was singing tomorrow, tomorrow, and you sat and listened to that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
We sat all afternoon and listened to Jessica Warble.
We did. We sang my children's repertoire numbered about 3 tunes at that time. I sang those over and over for her as well.
You know the song that you also sang then that I've loved all my life? Your parents were missionaries, right?
Right.
Right, Dave?
Yes.
And they, I think, in the Orient somewhere.
It was actually my grandparents and my great uncle and aunt. My great uncle translated the Bible into Mandarin, and the brothers, each family had 5 surviving children, and spent 30 years there.
And you sang that song, is it called Chinese Missionaries?
Chinese Christians.
Chinese Christians.
That's right. You got a good
And
memory.
God, it's a good song.
Thank you very
Just
much.
a great song. You wrote that.
Thanks. Yes, I did.
And you've written so many songs, Dave.
I've had some success with, for instance, the theme of the Fall Guy.
I remember that. Lee Majors?
Lee Majors, yes. Glenn Larson was inspired, actually. He says to write the television series The Fall Guy from a song that I had created for 20-minute ABC Wide World of Sports special on the subject of stuntmen who weren't very popular or known at that time. And I was his guest in Hawaii and sang it for him, and he liked it, and we rewrote the song, and Lee Majors became interested in the song and the series that Glenn created.
The Fall Guy, huh?
Yes.
And didn't he also do a show called The $6 Million Man?
Yes, immediately before.
Before that?
Yeah. And my house, by the way, became the set for the Fall Guy for the first.
Is that right?
Yeah, for the first couple of episodes, and then because it's up 135 steps, and Lee said, "We're not going to be coming here every week," so they remade the inside of my house at 20th Century Fox. Kind of trippy to go over there and see my house. Everything was the same. The color, everything, the rugs, and
Oh
yeah.
my God. And then when are some of the other times that we got together after that trip to Hawaii?
Yes.
I think we were being booked by Earl Finch at the time.
What a good memory you've got.
Earl Finch, yeah, who has since passed away.
Yes.
Yeah. And Tom Moffat was his announcer.
Right.
And announced the show.
Yeah.
And after that, we've run into each other several times.
Many a time.
I remember when Jessica and I ran into you when you were recording over in Burbank.
Yes.
At that sound.
Yes, Studio 76.
Studio 76.
That's the Cosmic Adventures of Diamond Dave. That's my children's CD.
That's where you did your children's CD.
Yeah.
We came in and watched you record for a while, and then we walked outside, and you and Jessica got reacquainted.
Yes.
And Jessica is doing just great.
Isn't that wonderful?
She's writing her own songs, playing piano, and she's just started to record an album. And I went the other night, a week ago, Tuesday night, down to Venice, where she's recording down there, and I listened to her record the first song for this album, and she was just great. I remember when we went on that cruise to the Caribbean.
Yeah, that was great, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
the Caribbean cruise.
Yes, sir, Holland, America. We were out
You
there.
and Mike Lewis.
Michael Lewis,
and
my musical
myself.
director. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. How's Mike doing?
He's doing wonderfully well. He just started a recording company with Ray Harris, and so we're out there with an alliance of websites that will allow the downloading of material that is programmed, encrypted into the system. And that's a new project for him.
Great.
Very, very talented guy. You know,
Great.
He scored Liberace's last 3 albums.
Is that
I don't know
right?
if you knew that. He also
didn't
did
know
Cops and In Search Of, you know.
Oh, yeah.
30 years in Quicksilver Messenger Service. He's had quite a career.
Wow, Quicksilver Messenger
Yeah.
Service. I didn't know all that about
30
Mike.
years, that's a regular gig, you know.
It sure is.
Regular money is the good money.
And you're releasing my CD on your new label.
right.
Right, you and Mike.
Yes.
And that's great. That's just terrific.
Yeah. Compilation of some of your great stuff on Capitol.
Yeah, that's right. My daughter put that package together.
Did
She
she?
got the pictures, picked out the songs, did the whole thing.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, she's so talented.
Passed it along to the next generation, I tell you.
I never had the voice that she had. I mean, I got by just singing rockabilly songs, you know, which you can sing
Yeah.
fast. She sings big
Yeah,
songs.
yeah, those note holders, they have
Yeah.
a special talent.
Well, you know that because you're one of them.
Well, plus she has that marvelous flexibility thing that she,
Yeah.
you know, it's just very, very comfortable for her to be anywhere in the scale.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I've told Mike Hawkins,
Yes.
who's the fellow that has brought us down
Yes,
here
indeed.
today, I told Mike Hawkins a story about you and me in Las Vegas back in 1999, and I'm going to ask you to tell the story, and you can leave out the one word. But this is one of the funniest things I ever
Well,
heard.
what was that tower we were up in?
The Stratosphere.
The
in Las
Stratosphere. We were
Vegas.
being interviewed by a disc jockey.
On the air, on live radio.
Yes, and he asked me if I ever got tired of singing Little Darling. I said, hey, you ever get tired of, and that word, you know? I looked over, your eyes were like saucers. He didn't just say that, did he?
That's one of my favorite memories of you. That definitely, I nearly fell out of the
Thank you.
tower.
My
there.
grandparents wouldn't like it.
The Chinese Christians.
That's right.
But Dave, you're originally from Canada, aren't you?
Yes, I grew up in a little village about 50 miles west of Toronto, where my family's
Oh.
been for the last 6 generations, 250 people, and as I was growing up, 70 of us were relatives. Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah. You
So a real small little area
Yeah,
out there,
yeah.
huh?
Because, wait to that old expression, you can divorce her, but she's still your cousin. And my great aunt was my grade school music teacher. I had a cousin who sang with the Metropolitan Opera who gave me music lessons starting at about age 5.
Wow.
And then we moved to Toronto, and my uncle, my mother's brother, who was head of music at Central Tech, where I attended, was my high school music teacher and the arranger for the first quartet that I sang in,
Oh yeah.
which included 4 members from his choir.
And what was the name of that first quartet?
The 4 Quarters.
The Four Quarters.
And 2 of us were black. The first 2 black people I ever met, because in Toronto at that time there weren't any
Right.
black people. And one was a tenor, one was a bass, and along with another baritone, a guy who's still a singer and famous actor in Canada today, Alan Stewart Coates, became a quartet to emulate our favorite groups at that time, which were the Golden Gate Quartet and the Ink Spots.
Oh, yeah,
And we did barbershop songs like Let Me Call You Sweetheart and By the Light of the Silvery Moon.
Oh, wow. What memories.
Yes, indeed.
Great memories going way back there.
Yeah. And then after high school, I left the four quarters. Guys didn't want to sing professionally, and I got a job as a radio operator at the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and that's where I met the other three guys with whom I formed the Diamonds. They liked to sing as much as I did, and we had studios with good arrangers and in-tune pianos, quiet rooms where we could rehearse, and we did that for about a year.
Uh-huh.
And then climbed into an old DeSoto, rolled down to New York City, won the Arthur Godfrey show, and then then over to Cleveland where we met a genius named Dr. Bill Randall.
Bill Randall, right.
Who was on a 1,000 watt station, but he was, in his way, he was stronger than Alan Freed at the time. Mm-hmm. He discovered Dizzy Gillespie, the Crew Cuts. He named the Crew Cuts. They were called the Canadaires when he first came to them.
Really?
And he said, "Nah, let's call you guys the Crew Cuts." And he sent them to Mercury Records just as he did later with us. And he also discovered that Pelvis Swiveler in whose house we are currently ensconced. Yes.
Yeah.
And
so he discovered Elvis, huh?
Yes. He introduced Elvis on his first television performance, which was the Jimmy Dorsey Show.
Uh-huh.
And Elvis wanted Bill to be his manager. This is before he was with the Colonel. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Bill was a guy with 7 degrees at the time, and worked as a lawyer. And his plate was full.
Right. Yeah. Right. Amazing.
Yes, and he was the first. Dr. Bill was the first guy to play Elvis to the network on his Saturday CBS television show from New York. Mm-hmm. He would fly from Cleveland to New York every weekend in his own plane and do a couple-hour show to the network.
He sounds like a fascinating guy.
He was one of the most certainly amazing fellows I ever met.
Uh-huh.
He had what's called an eidetic memory. As he flew along in his plane, he'd chart the other people just by sight. He knew without turning back where they were. Just an astonishing guy.
Yeah.
Worked for the CIA for a while.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Amazing man.
Yeah.
Just amazing. And then I remember when you and I went out to, it was 1,000 Oaks or somewhere out there, and you and Bruce Bellum and the guy from the association did Triple Gold. You used to call yourselves
Right.
Triple Gold,
That's
right?
right. Yes, right.
And you guys sounded great.
Thank you.
And you would do songs together, and
Yeah.
then you would each do songs from your individual groups
Right.
that you had starred with.
Yeah, 3 golden groups in one. You know, we had something like 100 million sales between the association, the 4 Preps, and the Diamonds.
And the Diamonds.
So it makes a strong concert whenever we do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the guy's name from the association?
Jim Yester.
Jim Yester,
Yes.
right. And Bruce Bellum from the 4 Preps.
Yes.
And you from the Diamonds.
That's correct.
What a group that was.
Thank you.
My Lord.
Thank you.
I was happy to sit. I sat through your rehearsal there that
Yeah,
day,
yeah.
and then I sat through the show. It was wonderful.
It's a strong act.
Yeah. And where was
Thank
that
you.
again? Was it Thousand Oaks?
I think so.
There was a theater out there.
The Thousand Oaks Civic Arts Plaza.
Civic Arts Plaza.
Theater. Yes, they're very
Right.
beautiful venue.
Beautiful venue.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Dave, it's just great to see you again.
Tommy,
buddy, and see you
congratulations,
looking
sir.
so well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great to see you.
Let's continue for another 70, huh?
Let's do it. And give Denise my best when she gets back
I will
home.
do that. And the same to Jessica.
All right.
Okay.
Dave Somerville, everybody.